I just wanted to take a few moments and review the Sleep Profile and Mindfulness Part 1 assignment. So for this assignment, you're going to complete the occupational profile of sleep on yourself. You'll find that document here. If you click there, you will see you can do a file preview. You can also download it. You'll need to download it to fill it out. But you'll see here it asks you questions about your sleep routine, your awake routine, your sleep environment, and your various sleep patterns. So you'll want to complete that and then examine and analyze your results. And then you're going to want to develop a sleep plan or routine based on your results. Then the other thing that you're going to do to complete this paper is you're going to utilize mindfulness for 4 days. You can either do body scan or meditation, which you'll find some videos below to show you what to do as far as the mindfulness practices themselves. And then you're going to journal or note your responses of the daily use of mindfulness and identify what helps or hinders following through with that in the mindfulness notes on practice template. And again, you can see that in a preview as well as downloading that document, but you'll need to complete that, and that will be attached to your final assignment. This assignment must be completed by Sunday of week 6, just because of number 1, how large the assignment is, and number 2, because there is a part 2 due next week. No late submissions will be accepted. Then the format of the paper, you can use the Sleep Profile Mindfulness APA formatted template found here. And if you open that up, what you're going to find is a template that shows you exactly what needs to go on your title page, how your headers need to look, and then each section within this template will give you more information about what should go in that section or how to label that section. So just utilize that as an extra resource as it will help you. You want to make sure that you do include a minimum of 5 peer-reviewed scholarly references that are cited in the paper. Now, if you cite your textbooks and you also cite a presentation, those are fine, but in addition to all of those things, you need to have 5 peer-reviewed scholarly references that are journal articles that are current within the last 10 years. So the different components of this assignment, first of all, you're going to have an introduction. And for this introduction, the opening content under your paper title should provide an overview of what's going to be included in the paper. This section may have third and first person writing. So you can say I, or you can say, speak as though you're speaking in third person. Tips for the introduction. Don't use the actual word introduction to title your paper. Begin writing your opening section under your paper title to introduce the paper. Your opening section should include the main themes of your paper with integrated literature support. Your opening section should also include what you will specifically address in your paper. Then the next section is going to be the importance of sleep on the mind-body overview. And in this section, you're going to provide like an overview or a summary of the importance of sleep on the mind-body connection. This description can begin with like a broad consideration related to sleep as an area of occupation within the OT practice framework. For this section, you're going to need to write in the third person, and you're going to need to include literature support or course content. Then the next section is going to be sleep profile. So you're going to describe the sleep profile in general and its use by OT practitioners. Remember to include literature support here. You're going to discuss and reflect on what you learned by completing the sleep profile, such as any obstacles you faced, what you learned about yourself and your sleep routine, maybe habits that you realized, good, bad, and the ugly, and any surprises that you got from completing this profile. This section can be written in first person in the reflection portion. Then the next section is the sleep routine and hygiene section. For this section, you're going to describe any changes, if any, that you've come up with for better addressing sleep as an occupation. Now, if you don't have any areas that you feel you need to address or change to improve your sleep routine and hygiene, then you need to explain your thoughts behind that and what you found in your sleep profile that makes you believe nothing needs to change. For those of you that do feel like changes needed to be made, then you're going to synthesize your results and the information from the profile and describe your plan or your new routine or new habits for addressing sleep. Please note that this section should include an analysis of your sleep profile results and a description of the routine or habit changes you plan to make. So writing in first person is indeed acceptable in this section. Then the next section is your mindfulness overview. You're going to just give me an overview of what mindfulness is and what its effects are on the mind-body connection. You want to make sure that you mention the benefits to mental health and well-being, and you want to make sure that you're providing support from your literature and course content. This section should be written in third person. Now, we spoke about there being some videos for you to utilize to know what mindfulness techniques to use. So you'll see here there are 5 videos that you can choose from. So do one of those for the 4 days. You can do different ones each day. It does not need to be the same one the whole time. Then the next section, mindfulness in practice. So I want you to give me a thorough description of your experience with using mindfulness for the 4 days. I want you to identify which one of the videos above you used. And then reflecting on your notes, I want you to analyze your response to mindfulness. What did it do for you? What did you accomplish by doing these mindfulness practices? This section should be written in first person. Then the next section is going to be the mindfulness effects on the mind-body connection. So here you're going to discuss the benefits of mindfulness practices on mental health and well-being. You're going to incorporate your experience and your opinion with mindfulness, either in support or against the use of mindfulness practices. You'll also, in addition to providing your opinion, you'll also want to provide support from the literature and course content. This section may include elements written in first and or third person. Then your final paragraph is going to be your conclusion. And in your conclusion, you're going to summarize how the elements of this final assignment have influenced your thinking about the mind-body connection and the effects on occupational performance. In 1 or 2 paragraphs, you're going to provide summary comments or summative comments, including your thoughts about the value of the mind-body connection on occupational performance. This section may also include elements in first and third person. Then after your conclusion, you're going to have obviously your reference page, and then you're going to have appendices as well. And your 2 appendices will be your completed occupational sleep profile as Appendix 1 and your mindfulness notes as Appendix 2. These 2 documents should be included within the paper, not uploaded separately into Canvas. And then one thing I want to point out with your references, be sure to include a minimum of 5 peer-reviewed scholarly references. These would be in addition to if you use, like, let's say, 2 of your textbooks and a presentation. You'll need to include those references as well, but in addition to those, you'll need 5 peer-reviewed scholarly references that are journals from scholarly journal article or journal from scholarly journals. You want to make sure that the references are current, which means within the last 10 years. And again, I do want to remind you, you can use references in addition to these 5 peer-reviewed scholarly references from a journal. However, it is important that you have these 5 articles because they will be used not only in this portion of the assignment, they'll also be used in part 2 of this assignment due next week. Then you want to submit your paper to Thinking Storm on the same day that you turn in your assignment part 1. So the same day you turn it into me, you'll also turn it into Thinking Storm. And that will be part of what you will do to prepare for the sleep profile and mindfulness assignment part 2. Just some other requirements. Make sure again that you use the template. Include your completed sleep profile and your mindfulness notes as appendices, not as links. So I shouldn't have to click on anything to see it. I should be able to scroll down to the end of the paper and see those 2 documents without clicking on anything. As always, make sure you're following APA style for in-text citations and references, and then you're going to submit your paper as a Word document. So just real quick, I want to talk about why do we do this assignment. So oftentimes as OT practitioners, we may overlook sleep as an area of occupation that can be addressed with our clients. Analyzing a sleep routine and establishing a new sleep routine or schedule, as well as teaching mindfulness techniques, are important interventions that may be able to help your clients in different areas of occupation. Because we know if a client is well rested, they're more likely to perform better in other areas of their life. So when we apply these concepts to ourselves, these experiences often serve as reminders of what this intervention can do for a future client. Then I just want to point out again, your rubric, will give you exactly what you need to know for what we're going to be looking for in our grading. So make sure that you review that before you turn in your assignment. If you have any other questions or comments, please feel free to let me know.